In this part of episode 11, I would like to talk to you about an alternative way of trying to figure out what is normal or typical for a collection of numbers, not the average, but in this case, the median. And before I tell you how to calculate the median, I would first like to give you an example to show you why we would calculate the median and why the median sometimes is better than the average for figuring out what is typical or normal for a group. To show you an example, we have a couple of teachers here at Green River College, and a full-time instructor at Green River College typically makes around $90,000 a year. Now, if I put four Green River College instructors in a list with Jeffrey Bezos, where we understand just from Google that Jeffrey Bezos earns around $1.6 million a year, what is the average of the salaries in this group? Well, to find the average of the salaries in this group, all I would have to do is add together all of these numbers and then divide by the number of numbers I have. So I would be adding together four copies of 90,000, four of those, and then in addition to those four 90,000s, I would also have Jeffrey Bezos with his 1.6 million. And then I would divide that by the number of numbers I have, in total 5. So let me go ahead and get this on a calculator. Here I have 90,000, four of those, and additionally 1 million, 1.6 million. And I divide that by 5, and the answer that I get is 392,000. So that is the average salary in this group, 392,000. The issue is that this average is really not telling me anything about what is typical or normal for this group, right? 392,000 is not typical for Jeffrey Bezos because he would be feeling very poor if he only earned this amount of money. And 392,000 is definitely not typical for us instructors. If I earned $400,000 in a year, you would not see me again. I would be retiring and I would be playing video games for the rest of my life, right? I would be basically set with this amount of money. So this value is not a good indicator of what is normal for anyone in this group. And that's because, there's kind of a weird entry in this list, right? There are four people here who are doing roughly the same thing. They're all instructors. And then you throw a multi-trillionaire, Jeffrey Bezos, into the list, and he is so different from everyone else that his really high salary is totally disrupting the average. And it's making the average much, much bigger than it would normally be if we had just a list of regular instructors in this collection. So, in situations like this, where there's a weird entry in your list, a so called outlier in your list, there is an alternative way to get a sense of what is normal or typical that is superior to the average being easily disturbed by outliers like Jeffrey Bezos. And that alternative way of figuring out what is typical for a list of numbers is what's called the median. The median. Now, the median of a collection of numbers is the number in the middle of the list when the values are ordered. To give you an example, If someone gave me this collection of numbers, 2, 5, -6, 7, and 8, and they said find the median, the very first thing that I would do is I would sort and order the numbers. So at the far left, the most negative value would be -6. That's my only negative value. Next is my smallest positive value, 2, then 5, then 7, then 8. With the numbers in order like this, I would just count in from both sides, and the number directly in the middle and the center of the list is the number 5. So 5 would be the median for this collection of values. Now, if you have an even number of numbers, for example, if I had 6 numbers, like I have in this list, how do we find the median in this situation? Because if I order the numbers from most negative up to most positive, and I count in from both edges, there's sort of no single number in the middle of this list. So what I do in a situation like this one, where I have sort of 2 numbers in the middle, is that I will average these numbers in the middle. I'll take 2 and 5 and add them together, and then I will divide by 2, because that's the number of numbers I just added together. And the result of that in the calculation would be 3.5. So 3.5 would be the median of this collection of values. This is what we do if we have an even number of numbers. You can also find the median of decimal values. I might start, for example, by writing them all vertically with their decimal points lined up. Now, the number that's furthest to the left has the most weight and the most impact. But in all of these cases, the digit that's furthest to the left is a 2 in the ones position. So then I will move to the tenths position, one space to the right. If I look at the digits in the tenths position, I can see that the largest digit in the tenths position is 5. So that is going to give me the largest number overall. The next largest digit in the tenths position is 3. So the value 2.34 is going to be the next largest. The next largest digit in the tenths position is 2.2. Then the next largest digit in the tenths position is 1. Now all that's left to do is to compare this second value in the list with this final value in the list. And here, the second value in the list has a 1 in the hundredths position, which is slightly larger than no value in the hundredths position. So the next largest value would be 2.0 and 1, and then the smallest value in the list is just 2.0. So now that I have sorted these numbers, I would check to see what is the value in the middle. But because I have 6 numbers in my list, because I have an even number of numbers in my list, I would take the average of the 2 values in the middle, and I would say, what is the average of 2.2 and 2.1? I'll add those values together, and then I'll divide by 2, because that's the number of numbers that I am averaging. And so 2.1 plus 2.2 gives me a result of 2.15 in the calculator. And that would be the median of the numbers in this list. So now that we know about the median, let's go back to this question, these people with their salaries, and let's see what the median salary would be for this group as compared to the average salary. To find the median salary, all I would have to do is put the numbers in order. And conveniently for me, the list that I'm given is already in order, with all the smallest values toward the top and then Jeffrey Bezos' huge number toward the bottom. So all I have to do is locate the middle number in the list, and the middle number in the list is 90,000. So 90,000 would be the median salary. So this at least tells me what is typical for the 4 teachers in this list, even though this isn't typical, of course, for Jeffrey Bezos. But Jeffrey Bezos is the outlier in the list. Jeffrey Bezos is the one that is strange, the one that is unusual. So the median basically ignores him and tells us what is typical for all the normal people in the list, for all the regular people in the list.